This meeting is being live streamed. And then there's a little bit of a delay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Weed Speak. And we're going to mute. This meeting is being, there we go. We're going to mute our computers, right, Rick? I almost forgot myself. There's always some kind of little technical glitch with me because I'm a little bit of a witch. For anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Sandy, and I am the founder of the PCSM Soulcast, and I'm here today on Weed Speak, the one and only cannabis live vibecast here on the Relevant app. Well, not the one and only, but the one that I love and the one that I'm involved in. And today we have Rick Naya. Rick Naya is kind of like a New England legend. He is the host of the Rick Naya Show. Rick hails from the Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire. We can get into a little bit of the idiosyncrasies of the state laws around here today. But Rick, I would love to welcome you to Weed Speak. Oh, look at how quick you got that graphic up. I love it. So what I want to do is let you into the Relevant app right now, Rick. So if you want to raise your hand, and we're going to bring you in. And we have you live on YouTube, which is great. So yeah, for anybody curious, we at the PCSM Soulcast, we aim to spread information, accurate information and education about the cannabis plant, but all plant allies. So on our page, we actually have an astrology show every Monday, a breathwork show every Tuesday, a chair yoga class every Wednesday. So, I mean, this whole content creation thing is really benefiting me. It's keeping me in really great shape and adding to the accountability of my wellness routine. So thank you to everybody who has been supporting us. Rick, I am accepting you to come on in. So without further ado, to the Weed Speak crowd, this is Rick Naya, once again, hailing from the state of New Hampshire, host of the Rick Naya Show. Veteran of the cannabis industry. He has so much passion, so much love for everybody in this community. And Rick, that's why I wanted to ask you to be on my show. If you could, Rick, your camera isn't ignited on your iPhone. If you hit the little camera button, do you see a little camera button?
I do.
Because I see you like coming in, but unless my iPad volume is
That's
down.
okay. I'm trying. This is all new to me. So relevant, hopefully it gets relevant. Here we go. So yeah, you've got me at the green screen at my desk. I'm sorry to tell you that I'm not live on Zoom, broadcasted via Zoom, so I can't show you all my. I can't hear you
though. So I think you're muted. So try touching the little microphone button. Here we go.
How's that? Any better?
I don't know why I can't hear you. Let's see. Oh, talk to me now.
It should be on. How's that? Any better?
Yep, I think so. Hold on. Yes, talk to me now. Okay, so we might have to do the opposite. You are coming in through my computer. So let me turn the volume down. Let's see, am I going to get a feedback? Hold on. Right. Yes, talk to me now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You won't be able to see my backdrops this way.
Coming in. Do you see a little line? I see you, but I can't hear you.
It should be good. My microphone's on.
Try tapping the button one more time.
It should be on. Can you hear me the other way?
I hope my sound isn't going to some like pair of headphones. Let me shut off my Bluetooth, Rick, just in case.
I'll do my microphone now. It's asking me microphone on.
Let's try that. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you can't hear me, but my microphone is on.
Hold on. I'm going to try one more other thing. Maybe the world can hear us. Okay. So I'm going to see, Rick, if you're talking. Oh man, it's Mercury retrograde. You know what I'm going to do, Rick? I'm going to try ending this, and I'm going to try to bring you back in one more time and just see if it works, because I don't know why I can't hear you.
Okay. I'll leave.
It's weird. When I'm looking at it on my phone, I couldn't even see our stream. Let's see.
Maybe they're following me, man, because, I'm out there. Yeah, I'm out there in a pretty big way right now.
Okay, everybody, this is take 2. We're going to try again. This is Sandy from the PCSM Soulcast here on the live Weed Speak podcast. And we're trying to get Rick Naya in. So he's going to attempt to join the Vibecast one more time. For some reason we could see him, but we could not hear him. And now I can actually hear myself on my phone. So I think we're just having some kind of glitch. It's Mercury retrograde, guys. So, you know, we're gonna just roll with it here. So Rick, go ahead and see if you can join us on the Relevant app here. And we will let Rick in.
That would be a new Vibecast. Let's go there.
On the Relevant app. Oh, I gotta love that delay. It's funny. And you will
live. Let's click on that. Weed Speak. You're
so
there. I'll wave my hands.
Every now and then we have a few seconds of, oh, there he is. A few seconds of a delay here. And I am attempting to let you in. Oh, accept. There we go. All right. Take two, Rick. I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear us and I'll be able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
All right. So the interweb, I always have to remind myself that these signals have to go all the way up to these like satellites, right? Like 1,000,000 miles into outer space and then bounce the signals all the way back down to us.
Can you hear me?
So I'm doing some like Reiki on my iPad right now, Rick. I'm doing Reiki on it. We're pulling you in. I can feel it. I can feel it. If for some reason the video doesn't work, we could always just do audio as well. And we could share some like graphics in the comments, but.
Can you hear me?
Yes, are you on Wi-Fi also, Rick? I'm sure your phone's probably on your
I'm on Wi-Fi, but I have my computer off because I thought we were Zooming. So what we're doing is we're doing a Zoom and we're doing a live chat.
Yeah, so you just want to turn your speaker down on your computer once you get the vibe going.
I already did.
The volume will just come into the Zoom call.
Yeah, I've already done that.
So basically, I'm on my computer right now and I'm, you know, the microphone is picking me up and then I'm on the Vibecast, which again, it looks like you're trying to be let in. Like I accepted you to come in, but for some reason it's just kind of like stuck in the pipeline.
Can you hear me at all?
But for some reason we can't do it on Relevant. We're just going to do it on Zoom and then I'll share the link. That's always an option.
Okay.
Oh, I see, like you're so close to being here. I'm going to take a picture, Rick, of what I see.
I see a gray screen with my picture on it and it's really not working. I don't know what's going on. Kind of
like stuck in the pipes. So I think we should just do our interview on YouTube. You want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
We can do that too. We can go direct.
What's going on?
We can record it and send it.
Just do our interview on YouTube.
Zoom Pro, so I can do whatever.
Yeah, we can do that. That sounds good.
We can do that too.
All right. So here we go. This is what we're gonna do. I will share this on the Relevant app.
All right, here we go. Now we go. Here we go. Now we can rock.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
All right. So everyone, we're just going to pretend that we're live on Relevant, even though we're not. We are live on Facebook. So once again, this is Sandy from Irie Bliss Wellness and the PCSM Soulcast. And Relevant is my sponsor. So I would like to take a minute to thank them for all that they do to give us an uncensored platform. And that's really why I'm there. And we're still working out some technical glitches, you know, because it's a very new platform, but we're very appreciative for their support. So Rick, thank you so much for coming on my show. I am so grateful and honored to be able to flip the script and be the one to have you on a show. So here on Weed Speak, Rick, the first question that we always ask everybody is, what turned you on? What brought you into the wild, wild west of cannabis, or the wild, wild east if you're us, right? And you're living up in New England. But yeah, what turned you on to this beautiful female, feminine plant?
Well, that's a really good question for anybody that's involved with cannabis. I'll have to say the very first time the cannabis was brought through to me was because I had love in my eyes. I met a girl and she asked me if I wanted to smoke some grass. And I thought, wow, lawn grass. And I thought, okay, so we smoked a joint. Nothing happened to me. And it wasn't until the second time that I smoked it 3 or 4 days later that what I thought was long grass was marijuana, and I got an effect from it. But it was many, many, many years after that a trigger component came upon, and my life changed invariably for forever. I was tricked by some people to drink a large, big gulp full of mushroom juice, and they were drinking small Dixie cups, and I drank the whole big gulp. And I end up with an experience that expanded my mind and horizons and my views about life and my interpretation of what love was. And quite frankly, my journey for cannabis was fully unintended. But what I believe were my higher powers were guiding me through something that was unique. I get highly emotional when I think about it because I know what my life once was, and I know what it means to philanthropize your world and give away all your worldly possessions so that you can speak on behalf of cannabis in a manner that's respected by our arena and our communities, our elected officials, and the governors and senators and commissioners alike. I'm very fortunate to have grown up in a family with a mother who was very involved in politics, and I was raised to speak the language. And I just feel very fortunate to have been able to be on many sides of many tables throughout my life, to experience many different things through the journeys that my mother allowed me to partake around the world, throughout the embassies and traveling throughout different countries, and exposing yourself to, what different worlds mean, from first, second, and third worlds, and understanding those meanings and how it touched the chord of my human being, my existence. And I was raised by a very loving, devout Latino family. I'm Cuban by birth. I was born in the United States on July 4th in Palm Beach. So it's a little bit funny that I come from the very first flow of the takeover of an island nation that my family helped found, and was so very, very involved with politically for over 550 years. We were the magnates de Cuba, so we were called. And it's funny you ask, because for some reason I wanted to look at my family history today, and I went through what the Spanish name for Naya meant, and so on and so forth. And I was very humbled by it, and it brought me a lot of a better understanding of why I think I was chosen by a higher power to walk the walk for cannabis and talk the talk of cannabis, and teach people and educate them without misinforming them with lies that were mounted by our federal government, quite frankly, destroyed the world of cannabis, all through petrograde chemical control and death and deceit. And I, for was one of those voices of reason in the early stages, as well as in the early days. I was, a Palm Beach preppy, surfing, fishing, hunting, playing games, and always on vacation land. And people always came from the Northeast. So I was always, partaking with cannabis in my skateboard. So I met a lot of people. And, my family was relatively of average means. They worked very hard to get to where they're at from this country, unlike what we were like in Cuba. But I think the integrity and the I don't know, it's in your genes. Either you have it or you don't. You get called upon or you don't, and you know how to carry yourself or you don't. But when you speak for cannabis, see, cannabis has no eyes. It can feel your electromagnetic resonance as the one that it emits as a heat signature. It's the only plant in the plant kingdom that exudes the same heat signature that of a human being's. You can find that on Google. But what's interesting to know about cannabis is that through the relationship that we have with it, that no one truly understands. And they say, we don't have enough tests. We don't have enough tests. Cannabis is the most studied item on the planet. There is more information and resources on cannabis if you're educated. Don't believe the federal government, because we all know, and I think the world is woke we've woken up to know what's going on here in America in our politics, whether it be Democratic, Republican, Independent, left, liberal, conservative. It really doesn't matter any longer. Somebody's out to get something from somebody through funds that come through oil or petrograde chemicals. And how's that? Well, crude oil creates byproducts that make petrograde pills that people consume. These pills don't cure, they allow for an alleviation of an ailment, but they don't cure anything. And 99% of them create an outcome which is very unbeneficial to our organs. So I know a lot about cannabis and pills and the history of cannabis from its inception in the early 37s and going into the 40s. And I understood why, because I was one of the first to ever read the lies, the patent of the United States government that's held for the regeneration of neurotransposons in the brain. We know the US government hid more about what cannabinoids and THC could do for the human body than any thing in the world. What they did is they stripped our organs and many bodies from cannabinoids, that of which cattle and feed for animals and all kinds of things that we were consuming. Not only that, through ailments, through mothers, because back in the day there were snake oils and oils and so forth and tinctures that were already being consumed for people for menstrual problems or cramps or pains and salves and balms.
Wait, were they, can I just slow down? Were they snake oil, or were they our ancestors speaking to us, telling us to gently heat this herb, and we were naturally decarboxylating it in the sun, and we were naturally aging it in our pantries and turning it into CBN, and by accident? Were we really doing things by accident though? Do you know what I mean? Where did like, I have a friend, like, just Rick, just to show you my life right now, we've just this is at my church right now, real time, right? This is my buddy Mike over here. His grandfather, his lineage is Jamaica, right? So here he is putting love into his plants, and his grandfather was a bush doctor.
Do you know? Do you know very dearly that my mother was the ambassador of Jamaica, Dr. Ophi Pollock, Dr. Ophi Dudley, and I grew up in Jamaica. I'm partial Jamaican as well. Out of the many, we're one, right? I lived up on Jack's Hill, just above Barbican, so you'll know. Yeah, man, Ras. Yeah, man, going to Amgare.
Big up.
Yeah, man. Just
so Rick, Mike,
blessings.
I had a feeling you two would hit it.
I was just with the original Whalers a few weeks ago with my family at the New York City 420 celebration. And I spent a wonderful evening with the Whalers, the original one. So it was just amazing. So yeah, righto.
Well, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, Rick, is, if you try to watch Rick's show, for one thing, to get to the show, you've got to get through like the 23 to 32 minutes of shout outs that Rick does, because he just loves. Yeah. So Stenny, we're just doing audio today because Rick was having a hard time getting on with the video. If you want to see the video, we are live right now, actually on YouTube on the Irie Bliss Wellness page. And so we are recording it there. But Stenny says hi, and Wendy Love Edge says hi, Rick. You're getting a lot of love from the relevant community. And yeah, Rick is on here right now showing all the love and all the land. I mean, so one day I had been told by Lady J that Rick had been shouting me out on his show. So I go to put his show on one night, but I think I was trying to get to like a networking event or something. So I hop in the shower, and my, at that time, 5-year-old son, busts open the bathroom door. He's like, mommy, you're famous on the internet. That man just said your name a bunch of times. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what Rick does. Like, Rick just shows the love. Yeah, there he is. There's my logo. Rick doesn't receive money from me for that. Like, I have to say that, like, that is just community love. Like, Rick never asks for anything in return. And, Rick, I really wanted to give you this platform and give you this time to plug some of the things and some of the projects that you're involved in.
My God.
You have your show, the Rick Naya.
This is crazy. Yeah, my show is out of bounds. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that 3 years later that my show on Thursday nights is still being watched by thousands of fans and people that share comments and love. And I want to thank the cannabis arena. I call it the arena. We touch every industry that exists. So we are the arena. We are the people's people. Cannabis is of the soul. We touch every soul that's ever ever been woven through our fabric, whether it's been through caregivership, medicinal, recreational, or however we choose to call it. When we consume cannabis, I've always looked at it as a very spiritual place to be. I mean, it's cool and groovy because you get this nice feeling and you get this upwelling of your body's orchestrator and your orchestra going into action. And I was saying earlier, what the federal government has done to us was stripped our bodies from cannabinoids and created deficiencies in genomics, biogenomics within our organs and bodies. And this is evident through the types of vaccines and things that were given to children that we weren't able to ward off. Now, others who chose not to and consume cannabis, as myself, I'm very, very blessed and fortunate. I don't know how. I see millions of people a year, hundreds of thousands of them yearly at different events all over, yet with the level of cannabis that I've consumed, I don't know what's blessing me and keeping me going. And I just feel like every time I do my show, and you say that I'm like a plethora of wealth for those who are at the table of an arena of like the legs that many of us built for a table for people to come to and really share their love and passion for cannabis. Like myself, I was awarded a directorship on the board of the Crohn's Charity Service Foundation, which is a very humbling space to be in as a philanthropist. Now I'm giving away awards to some of the greatest names in cannabis history at the Stratosphere in Las Vegas this season. And I just think it's a blessing, the type of sponsors that understand 501(c)(3)s and what we're doing with the revenue and how we give back so much as philanthropists. And I'm one. I did it the hard way. I wouldn't suggest anybody in the world to relinquish their life. And all I know is if you're going to get involved in cannabis, that make sure that your passion is of the utmost level, that your partner, your wife, or friends and family support you 100% because they believe in your passion, and don't give up. It's a struggle for the first 2 or 3 years. Trust me, everybody.
I'm in my third decade, my love.
It's
been a struggle from day one.
Let's
face it. I'm second generation fighting for people to live, fighting for people to get well, fighting for people fighting cancer, fighting for people fighting cancer for the second time, fighting for women with postpartum who don't want to speak about, I don't want to be on that drug. I don't want to take that drug while I'm pregnant, but I'm stigmatized if I take one puff of cannabis so I can eat or so I can sleep, but yet stay on your Prozac. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to, if that could cause problems, you know what I mean? But if you've also been on cannabis for 25 years, to suddenly cut your body off of cut your endocannabinoid system off completely of its nutrients while you're growing a baby because the medical system tells you that that's what you have to do to have a baby in their hospital, it's pretty messed up. And I believe it sends women into those endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome diseases like diabetes, which get all of a sudden hyper, during, pregnancy, your immune system already gets suppressed. So now you want us to take away vital, and you touched on this, you talked about nutrient deficiencies, which taking the hemp out of the food chain, taking it out of the animal feed and out of the food supply, we were getting the perfect omega ratio from our meat from the hemp back 60, 70 years ago, right? Or maybe, I guess at this point, 100 years ago.
Absolutely.
And prohibition really messed that up for us. It messed us up on an epigenetic level because
absolutely.
Roundup, it was GMOs. That's what came in. Plastics, DuPont. Thank you very much. No, thank you. I don't want it anymore. We don't want it, right? We're not going to take it, right?
No.
We're not going to take it. This is what Rick tell me, produce my podcast. I should have some more
balance the elements. You got to balance the elements.
We're going to balance the elements. Exactly. So we're going back. What are we doing? We're starting a nonprofit here also, Rick. And that I'm so glad that you touched upon that. It's like, yes, I have a patient grow. Yes, I fucking give medicine away to sick fucking people. I will never not do that. I will sit here with dispensary owners and share joints with them and explain to them that this grow, his time, my time, is this education, these shows, teaching you how to pop seeds, teaching you how to sex plants, teaching you how to make living soil, inspiring people to grow their own medicine as a nonprofit, to give the power and that vibration into your love, into these plants, that then when you smoke it and you consume it, the plant is giving straight back to you, right? So it's a karma loop, it's a cycle, it's a wheel. Mike will provide for a man who can't, because that man might come up and might feel better in 2 years, and he might be supporting this whole church for all we know. You know what I mean? When we have it, we give it. I already told Wendy this, and I'm telling other people this. We are going to need volunteers to help trim. We grow more cannabis than we need. There is more cannabis than most people know what to do with around. And at this point, it's like, who needs it? Because we can do a whole show on trimming. We can do a whole class on it, and then we don't have to be the ones doing it. Like, we don't have time. Like, we still have jars, Rick, from last season, from my right to grow my 12 plants at my home in Maine, and my right to grow my 12 plants at my home in Massachusetts. And my cousin is a caregiver, and everybody I know is a caregiver. And in Maine, we've been caregiving since 1999, right, Rick? And a lot of people don't know this about New England. Like, Maine people have been, they've been on it.
Maine was ahead of the curve. Even I mentioned this on my show last week, and I think a couple of weeks ago, that when we realized, hey, the ships landed here in Boston, okay, it all started here in New England. Yeah, there was stuff going around the country, but when you talk about Americans, it all started in New England. And so did the hippie movement, the culture, the ones that lived off the grid, so to speak. People who were already trying to make changes and get away from this control that we've been lied about for so long. So Maine, New England, yeah, I always say that this is where it really started. The heritage of our nation is founded here. The house of the primaries is in New Hampshire. A lot of conservative love with liberalism is still alive here.
It's a really interesting mix of politics, isn't it? I say it all the time. Like, Maine is almost like a cross between Vermont and Massachusetts, where it's like very pro-gun, very liberal, like in the sense of like, it's like, don't be afraid of the dog, you beware of the owner. You know what I'm saying? You don't cross into people's land. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very Wild West kind of mentality. But, I own land in Maine, and my cousin was out four-wheeling, and there were some people growing plants on my land, and it's not like I'm going to do anything about it. I'm not doing it. Like, somebody has to do it. You know what I mean? It's land, it's there. It's like, use it. Use the free sunshine, in my opinion. Like, we should be spreading the seeds everywhere, So my dream in Maine is we have this like total tick farm. It's like nothing but high bush blueberries and ticks. And it's not like the pretty rolling fields of Vermont. It is just, it's a shit show. However, there's one hill on the property, and the elevation is 420, and you can't make this shit up. That elevation map, right? And I'm like, deciding whether or not to buy it. And I'm like, why is it so cheap? Well, it's so cheap because you can't freaking access it. There's no real road, but all in good time, a little bit of politics. Show what we can do with this land, right? Without an affordable housing community, Rick. My dream, it's in the town that I went to high school in. My first time ever really saying it in public. But my dream is to create an affordable housing community that is really thoughtful and has a community center, has a wellness center for children and adults, like a YMCA, but like on steroids, like where we have, like, it goes into gardens and it goes into like saunas, so more outdoor. Like, I'm picturing a little sandy land, It's called Irie Bliss Acres. It's going to be called Irie Bliss Acres. It's already a thing, but it's in my mind. And so I'm putting it out there. We're going to be looking for volunteers for building, but I'm envisioning 400 to 500 square foot abodes for single folks or couples, or even people with just like one kid starting out, like pride in ownership. Nobody really needs a $400,000 or $500,000 house. Nobody needs 2,000 square feet. You really don't need that. Anybody who's lived in a bus, I mean, I would rather live in a van down by the river, Rick. Like, I am happier in my little cozy little like nest, with less. And so I'm thinking solar. I'm thinking a hemp village where we grow the hemp. We do hempcrete with shipping containers and funky like old like ice cream trucks and old like food trucks like that just kind of go to die. But we could kind of make that like the entrance of a really funky house. Like, I see it. Like,
there's so much potential. I got to be honest, I talk to a lot of people, and this is one thing I can say about New England and Maine and New Hampshire, just this area where we're from up here, this where I'm at now.
Mhm.
is that there are so many artists and artisans that either play music, make music, build
Yeah.
music, either design it, paint it, display it, emit
Touch
it,
it, feel it, hit it.
use it, and they do. There's so much of it going on here.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, and I really, it's like my family at GRE, Grateful Remedies, Golden Remedies, Edibles, Sean Patton and Al Burbank. They give away a lot. They give away like you do. These are the kinds of people. Like if you notice, I popped off a lot of people on the screen already, and these are people who become champions. These are people that don't.
Yeah, Senny volunteers so much. Let's give a shout out to Senny. I mean, he's on right now listening as well. Like he's helped me so much organizing DJs, tracking down logos, bios. Like, you know how much work it is because you're in this business. Like you did so good, Rick. You actually gave me your information like a good 5 days in advance. And like, I didn't even, you know what I mean? Like we planned this. So, but you know how it is. Like all the devil is in the details, right? So having like Senny and Lynn who show up, who are organized, they're consistent. You know what I mean? Like they are my team. We couldn't do any of the stuff we do at the church on Saturday without this team. Like we're so lucky. And I know you, okay, so let's go back to Rick is everywhere. So where is this? Like, it's like, okay, it's like you're the Where's Waldo of the cannabis events. Like you're.
I've got a t-shirt. It's a Where's Waldo t-shirt, kind of a t-shirt, but there's a Waldo in it. But what it has, if all the other people are all cannabis celebrities, and I'm one of them that's on that shirt. And I got to tell you, I put it away like, oh, this one I'm going to put away, and I'll never probably wear it. End up maybe giving it to my son. But yeah, when people go out of their way with their passion, for instance, I was at I don't know, 4 or 5 festivals already. Season's just starting this weekend. What? Right. So I've been on this mission. I've already probably seen, well over into 500,000 people in the last 2.5 months. It's like, are you kidding, Rick? Nope. And then what's going to happen this weekend is we have Germination going off, and we got some of the best music that's going to be played.
Wait, tell me about Germination. Tell us about that, because
oh my God, let me go get
listeners from all over the country here on the Relevant app. It's a lot of folks from like the Midwest and Texas and stuff.
Oh, right on, everybody out in the Midwest, my Oklahomans, Texans, Nevada, everybody out there, New Mexico, anybody out in the West, Centrals, it's American. Anybody that claims to live here, right on, man. I don't care what flag you fly. Love you. Thank you for being with us. But the event that we're doing this weekend is called Germination. We do it every year. It's May 20th through the 22nd, which is, again, this weekend. But what's nice is we're featuring some of the very best bands in New England on one deck. It's kind of hard to get that way up north in central Maine. But we at Freedom Field, we have over 110 acres, and we're expanding even more, adding showers this year.
Oh, it's Harry Brown's farm. Oh,
Nope, it's not Harry Brown's. Harry's is the other event. That's Harry's Happening, which is in a few weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay, so where's the address on the event this weekend?
Well, where we're going to be at is it's Freedom Field on Carson Hill Road in Harmony, Maine. Oh. And what we have is some of the best featured bands from New England, like Neighbor and Dogs in a Pile, Jabberwocky, Bowsasser, and the Sensi All-Stars will be with us. Merit Iguana's there, Higher Education, Wayside. We have Brookhead, Sweet Tooth is going to be with us, the Reflections, Paul Goodrich, Rio Bisbee, and there's a number of different DJs that'll be playing with us, and a couple superstars that'll show up besides me, just superstars that come from within the region, and they'll be sharing their love. And one of the local favorites from up in central New England and northern New England is Murder, and they've got a whole new vibe and a whole new sound, which is really just amazing. I'm super, super happy. So what we did, though, at our field, which is Freedom Field, that's Scotty Audette, Justin Rayong, and Brad and Mark, and there's a couple other people that are with them that are helping support and nicking away at trying to make the venue better. They put up some showers. They bought a bunch of brand new toilets to put all around the property. Nice. They're making it more of a campground with music instead of just, hey, this is a place to come session, party, and get gooned out. Nope, there's going to be camping. There's more and more coming as we move through the season. So, and then what we did is we broke ground. Yeah, we broke ground with Harry Brown's because there was a conflict at Freedom Field and Harry Brown's because they were pretty close, too many concerts, too many. So they made contract that said you can't play at that place if you play for us for 30 days. And it made it hard for bands to make money. So we broke the ice with that and said, enough. All these people are our family. If they want to play for you this weekend and for me the next weekend, if they think it's convenient and going to work, we should be open. So what Harry's finally did is say, you know what, let's break the stick. Let's hold hands. You guys play, we'll play together. And then what we decided to do, what Scott's idea was, hey, let's do a special ticket, $120, 7 days of music. What? Nowhere for $120 can you go to one venue to listen for 3 days and another venue for 4 days and listen to music for that kind of money. And it was the first time ever done. It was like bridging of the community. And that's the kind of thing that we need. That's the kind of thing that like Carney Roll did. The people that put on Carney Roll, very dear friends, very close friends of mine who played for me, who worked for me and got paid by me, Tom Brown and others to get their positions in the community, in the arena. But you don't get there without the elders helping, pushing. No, don't use that guy, use this guy, use this, use that. And we've kind of helped, but with the right, everything came together. We put together one of the biggest and deepest decks that New England's ever seen on the current level. And it was out of bounds music, out of bounds, out of bounds. A lot of ins and outs, but that's the learning curve of going on and bringing in people, you know, like Wiz Khalifa and the Grizz and Waka Flocka Flame, Redman, Method Man. And you bring these kind of big names, it costs money. These sponsors all stepped up to bring this to the community to say thank you. So I want to say thank you to everybody at Carney Roll for the hard work they did. I do know that there's a couple other big events that'll be coming up soon. I want to also thank Mike Clinton from Commonwealth Camp Out. He'll be doing his big event coming up this weekend too. So I'm really, you know, excited for everybody that's out there doing what they do and sharing their love for our plant. You know,
tell us a little bit. What is the Commonwealth Camp Out all about?
Wow, man, that's out in Western Mass on a 450-acre property.
Wow.
He's got vendors, sponsors, and there's a cannabis cup as well. And they got all kinds of booths and all kinds of people out there sharing love from the community.
What was the date of that one again? Just for
I
anybody?
believe it's this weekend too. It's the same weekend as ours. So it's kind of was a conflict, like, oh, darn. But not really, because we're way up in Maine and they're out in Western.
I'm having a book signing this weekend.
Wow, it would have been an awesome one at the camp out.
We can't all be everywhere. You know, I wish I could clone myself.
Well, I'm going to be hanging with Talking with the Dad, and we're going to be doing a bunch of different things throughout the season. There's a lot going on with a lot of people. I want to give Chris Chiari major ups for the Patterson Inn and getting his license. This is the inn that he owns. Okay, he just got it, built the tavern on this side. This is all a tavern on this side, but way over on this side over here, you can see it down in that corner over here, over there where the big steeples are. That's going to be an open consumption lounge. So when you go in, you book your room. Let me go eat dinner. Oh, let's go over into the lounge and go puff and have a cocktail or a stogie or a blunt. So it's exciting.
Separated, like you won't be able to consume alcohol where you can consume.
That is right. They keep all that kind of thing set. This is a cannabis consumption lounge, and this is an alcohol. You want to go get gooned out with your alcohol, go over there. But hey, we know where the good, you know, we know where health and wellness is. So we eat a nice meal, and then we go and enjoy a nice tincture or a nice cannabis cup or a nice cake or cookie or some medible. Yeah, wonderful. And then have a beautiful night stay in one of the most beautiful places in Denver. So it's like, wow. Yeah, it's a wow place. You want to get something happening, go meet my brother Chris Chiari. He was one of the big guys at Normal in Denver, and he was one of the guys that helped pass all that stuff that we all needed to early on when we were all rooting for go Colorado, and they did it. And he's one of those guys. So I want to thank him, Patterson Inn. I love them to pieces, man. They're good people, just great people. I want to thank my brother Strain Kings for putting out some pretty damn good product lately. Casey Greens, they're doing good work. So I want to thank the people that deserve that kind of stuff. You know, they struggles, you know, you might not be savoir faire and have, you know, a 16-year college degree, but some of these guys are crafters and they come out from the streets and they have to get their brand out there somewhere. And when they do stuff good and they're giving back and they share their love, man, that's what I do. I come out here and push some love around for those people who are out there and making it happen. I want to thank Northeast Leaf. You know, they're out there. They're supporting all the different things we do all over the place, you know, and our family, like you said, you know, our family at Mary Palmer, I'm proud of them because they're sticking their neck out in every little venue corner they can and winning trophies.
Oh, yeah.
Championships, national titles, international, they're winning. Okay. And for me, I don't know if you knew, but DJ and I made it on the cover of the same magazine Greenleaf. So that was for me.
Is this the May issue?
Yep. So there's
Oh,
DJ.
wow. Look
There's
at
DJ
that.
right here. They talking
Nice.
DJ Stenny. And then they got
Nice.
me over here. So to be on, I've been on a bunch of covers in magazines, and that's cool. Really, really. I love it. I love going on. I think it's great. But to see a brother, someone you love and you've had dinners, slept with, you go on trips with, and you do things with, man, it was one of those things. I don't know if they realize it at Greenleaf, but man, that's probably it's that bud on the front cover is something else.
They're a great magazine. They always have amazing cover art.
Yeah, that's my Naya there on the front cover that they put down. It's very, very rare cannabis indeed.
Wow.
And I've got the flower factory working on it right now out in Michigan. And that flower factory is my family from CryoCure, who just got patented. Their products are going nationwide. And I'll be having some news too to share.
Wait, let's just slow down, because remember, there's people that might not know what that is. What is CryoCure?
CryoCure is a way that they cryogenically cure cannabis from vine, like it's growing now and it's time to harvest today. We bring it in, set it on our racks, slide it into the system. And I mean, you only do an A/B trim. You don't have to do a fine trim yet. We set our colas all still on stock on these racks. We slide our 4, 8, 12, 16 racks in. We close the chamber, hit the systems in, they're all dialed in. Within 12 hours of coming back the next morning, we depressurize. It opens up. You slide your trays at, you manicure, cut it off, put it in your jar, seal it, and put it on the shelf. It's vine to shelf in 12 hours. And biogenomically cured in a medical grade fashion. So if you're a medical breeder grower and you're providing medical grade cannabis to your consumers, there is no finer way than to provide cannabis from this type of product to a patient, because we already all know that through the curing process, we devalue cannabis, starts doing things that sometimes you enjoy, sometimes you don't. And to cure it immediately at its highest potencies and highest terpene and flavonoid levels and preserving them is hypercritical. And no one can say the difference. I've tasted it. You can taste a lot of good cannabis when it's organically grown. I can taste it all. I've smoked them all. I'm a judge. I'm an honorary judge from high times all the way down. So I know cannabis that well, not only that I'm the great grandfather of hybrid cannabis because I bred the Gainesville Green, which bred the skunk and the Northern Lights, which bred, as we know, 95% of hybrids around the world have those genomes within them. So that means, that my cannabis has touched the world and the planet. And it's time to start protecting those genomes biogenomically, biogenetically, with patent processing. And my company, Rare Genx, my company Goat Cannabis, Cannaceutical Park, my ProGrow, we're putting together a biogenomics lab in Puerto Rico to Schedule II patenting of rare cannabis genetics for our goat members, greatest of all time. And this will be people that not only get selected and are part of, the great famous musicians, but great famous breeders and people from around the world who already grow cannabis, but don't get recognized. So what we're going to do is we're going to protect them with our biogenomics patenting and then break them down through our drops at festivals that we do and then distribute to our MSOs that we're bound with now. So in the very near future, all of us are going to be hearing a lot about what's going on, and then you're going to be seeing it at the events that we'll be throwing as we do. You guys know that I'm involved in music. Music is one of my things. I throw big ass festivals and concerts all around the country. From the largest cannabis events in the nation at the moment, which is the Pennsylvania and Florida cannabis festivals, are the largest mass of people and vendors you'll find at any one given place on the East Coast is the Pennsylvania and the Florida cannabis.
Because I can open up the chat. What's the link for people to find out about
PA Cannafest or Pocono 420? We just took on the Pocono racetrack, which is going. Let me tell you, when you take a racetrack over, That's when you got to know something is going right for that company or those people. They've got to be doing
Like a
something right.
racetrack that was racing like cars.
Well, that's where they race cars at the Pocono racetrack, but we're going to be taking
And
cannabis to the racetrack, and we're going to have it done as we do at the Pennsylvania Cannabis Festival in a manner that's very respectful to the surrounding communities and to the patients and citizens alike. What we do is very, very cool, man. I love the fact that the vendors and the sponsors pay for people. You get them in free, parking free. You guys come and do your thing, but spend your money on the vendors, and they come there like the biggest shopping mall in the world over a weekend with some of the great bands. We've had Mendo Dope. This year, we're gonna when we take over the racetrack in 2023, it's gonna be quite special. We'll be doing very cool specials on my show, giveaways, vendor booth giveaways. We're gonna be doing some things
okay,
this
so wait,
year.
when you say let's back up again for the listeners who are new, what is your show and how would people find your show?
Oh, my show, you can find me really pretty simple. People have asked me for years, you got a business card? And I go, yes, I do. It's called Google. And they kind of look at you like that joke everybody uses.
I respect that. Save paper.
But I can't, because I'd have to have a whole briefcase full of business cards. Just go here. People will be all over so
well, the business keeps changing, right? Like it's like evolving all the time. It's like the card's obsolete.
You're right. And for me, my life was already, I gave away my life. So the community speaks of me. I don't speak about myself. I had an ego is an ego until it's an island. When that island sinks, you're alone, man. Unless you have a community that has a handout and a lifesaver and to feed you your soul. Now, mind you, I'm Cuban, I'm white, but I was bred by Latinos and the Black Americans, African Americans. And my mother's married to a Jamaican gentleman. My sisters and families are all interracial. My entire family, if you saw it, you'd look at me and almost go, Rick, what are you doing, man?
I'm like, you're white, Rick? Are you sure?
I know, but the thing is, if you see me at events, you'll always see me hanging around the cultural zones. You'll be like, what's going on with Rick? Why is he always doing? Because there's plenty of those, but there's not enough of us. So I try to support those of us who had the most struggles from the streets, at the levels who've been to prison, the people, the veterans who've suffered the most, the women who've had the batterings. I like to help people who don't have a window that I'm exposed to and I can share with the world. And I cry, I get emotional, a lot on my show, because it's a reflection of truly what cannabis is supposed to be doing. And I'm telling you, when I walk the walk and talk this talk of cannabis, this is my space in my world. I help create something with friends and families throughout these last 50 years so that people like yourself could have shows and have people like me on to talk about not the old days. We can go back down the old shakedown lane, and that's cool. But man, I'm all about what's coming up, what's new, who's cutting the edge, what kind of products you got. Let's get them on my show and talk about that. And I want to thank Sean McRocker for sharing his love with his dipsticks. He's giving these away for us for our events.
Those are mad cool. I like that.
They're mad cool. He designs them, whatever you want.
I would carry those in my shop.
He's a beautiful being, Sean McRocker. I love him.
You'll have to put us on a group email. Okay.
McRocker Designs. I'll be happy to do that. And he'll be happy to do things. His sister passed, who was a jeweler. And he picked up behind her. And he's doing this. He's got a career, but he's doing this to give back the passion she had. And he has learned from our arena and community. You know what I mean? Yeah. He has learned what it is to be embraced by people who have a passion, who've suffered, and really want to see this. I don't ever want to have to walk out of my house knowing if I have weed on me that I can go to prison. Right. I want to be able to walk out of my house like any normal human being and go enjoy my day. And I'm not bothering anybody. Why bother others? Well, we elect officials. This is something I want to make clear to everybody out here. Why? Why? Because we're the ones that elect people that we don't hold accountable. We're not holding them to the accountability of the standards that are imposed by our people, the people who've suffered the most. So why elect people that aren't going to go into the state house and operate at a level that those of us that have suffered can respect. Stop the propensity of racism. Well, we're trying, but you're a racist if you're allowing cannabis to be illegal, because that's the place that they use the most to hurt those that may not have the resources or the backgrounds, the people of cultural color, ethnicities. People get hammered all over what? Their own insecurities. You know, I for one, I speak for cannabis. Again, it has no eyes. And because it has no eyes, I must be its caregiver because it chose me. It chose me as a young kid through a girl through love. And that's kind of what I'm known for, Rick Naya. Share the love. That's my logo. I share my love everywhere I go because cannabis has done that for me. And if you can't share your love and you can't caregive with somebody, we've all been in the bosom of someone's arms. My auntie, my mom breastfed, my grandmother, my sister, my girlfriends, my wives, they've held me in a bosom. And a bosom is that of a woman. A woman is that of light and love. They procreate. Not a sperm doesn't procreate. The woman's egg procreates. So when you look at life through love and things will change. If you look at spite and anger and testosterone, I'm gonna whip your ass. Let me assure you that my tongue is much sharper than your muscles, and I will sew you under so quickly with my tongue, and solely through cannabis, because it was through cannabis that my eyes were opened, through the bosom of caregivership, saving people's lives, children's lives, patients. When you see a woman come to you crying, holding you in their arms and not wanting to let go because they still have their husband, or their child now doesn't have those massive moles because we gave them salve to put on and they dried them up and killed them. When people who've had prostate or abdominal cancers and we've helped them, let me tell you, there's nothing like that. That's why I know doctors do what they do, but doctors aren't caregivers as we were, because we were the ones that went holistically. The least evasive measures save lives first. And cannabis truly was made by an otherworldly. There's no way that our brains receptors and our brains and organs receptors with CBD receptors and all the receptors that we have were made specifically with and for our health and wellness. So anybody that doesn't believe that, please speak to a patient whose life has been saved, or a child. Go speak to a child who's not convulsing over the foam floor with braces on their mouth so they don't bite their tongues.
Well, so real quick, Rick, this has a lot to do with what you were just talking about. So focusing on what we want, right? And not on what we don't want, right? So we know what we don't want. So in order to affect change, writing letters to your legislators, letting them know that you do not agree with the war on drugs, that you believe that—
I want to say this right now. I want to interrupt you. Don't send a letter. I hate to say that, but you know what happens is the girl at the front desk gets it, stamps it, puts it in a file. Most 99% of the time, they don't get read. What has to be done is you must have an appointment with that elected official that you voted for them, and you have every right to have a conversation with them, and not on an email. And
that's totally next level. Yeah.
You must get at the level, and don't be a pussy. Be a fucking lion, yank the thorn out of your toe and go in there and bite them on the fucking ass with words of educated words, with your soul. You don't have to be vile and foul, but you can share your feelings with them and let them know, I elected you. Why are you still a racist? How dare you call me a racist? How? Because you're propagating and continuing that same war upon the people that are stricken the most. So you have to be a racist until you vote yes. Legalize cannabis. We'll work out the details after. What details? When you legalize something, there should never be a fine. Okay? It's legal. Okay? It's like alcohol. It's legal. Oh, you're intoxicated. Oh, that's why. Oh, you're driving and you're intoxicated on cannabis. Oh, but here's the problem. There's a big difference with consuming cannabis and alcohol. And it's proven already. There's data with the driving records and everything is out there. When you drink and drive, you kill people. When you smoke cannabis and drive, you drive slower. You're more alert and you're more in tune as to what's going on. And if the blue light does come on, trust me, there's a thing called asymptomatic sobering. The minute the blue light goes on, oh shit, you're as sober as can be. You're not stoned. And trust me, your faculties, that's what's important. People don't understand. I'm high as fuck right now, but I have my entire faculties. I am not like an alcoholic or someone on heroin or opiates who's in a corner of ball. No, cannabis doesn't do these things. And it's the biggest lie, like the fried egg in the frying pan that, oh my God, if I smoke cannabis, my brain is going to be like an egg frying in a pan. People believed these things. It's the saddest thing in the world when they don't realize that my body, many people's organisms and their bodies function nicely. They don't need cannabinoids. They may receive them through some of the nutrients that they consume, or endogenously, they produce enough to be happy. But some of us, like myself and many others, our endocannabinoid system has been stricken. It may be PTSD, it may be anything that's caused to shock it, and it doesn't produce enough for my well-being. So when I consume cannabis, I can control the level of well-being that I'd like. So if I want to get,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry to cut you off. So on the Relevant app in like 1 minute, there's another show coming on. So we do have to wrap it up. So I just wanted to let people know how they can actually find you so that they can carry this conversation on your show. Is the Rick Naya Show.
Yep, you can find me on the Rick Naya Show. You can find me on Google. You can find me on Facebook at Rick Naya. You can find me on Instagram as NH Cannabis Freedom Festival or Rick Naya. I think they kind of tie into one another. And you can find me on Twitter at Rick_Naya. And yeah, you can just go Google Rick Naya. You can find me. I answer phones and messages. People think I don't. I may be famous, but I wouldn't be if it wasn't for like what Lady Jade said. Rick, you're at where the community puts you. And I looked at it and I thought, you know what? That was such a humbling thing to hear. And it's true. And to be where I am now, to have been a millionaire, to go broke with philanthropy, to go out the last 5 years on manifestations of thy will and prayer for food, for anything, and to be traveling all over the country and all over the world and be a guest at all the events that I'm at through the work that I've done, through the love that I've shared, is a place that the community can only hold you. So I want to thank all of them, all of you, everybody that watches my show, that shares their love with me, the gifts that you bestow me, that I give to others. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank just everybody. I want to thank Custom 420 Promos for making all my killer swag. Julianne Mejia, Irie Bliss, wrote just everybody. I can't even tell you. You guys can find me at most of the biggest festivals, the Harvest Cup, the Pheno Cup, Northeast Leaf Fest, the Boston Freedom Rally. You can see me everywhere. I'm everywhere. You'll see me at my own event at the Crohn's Charity Service Foundation, at the Stratosphere, as we're awarding some of the nation's most beloved blood and sweat and tears award recipients this year, including Tommy Chong. We have so many people that are going to be at this event. It's really like the red carpet event prior to CannaCon. It's where the awards come out before CannaCon. So it's like,
so are you literally doing something basically, like I just stopped Relevant. You're literally doing something every weekend. Like, it seems like when do you sleep?
Well, it's funny you say that. I don't know. Very seldomly, but it's true. I spent last year, I think it was a record last year. It was like 63 events last year, but I'm already on par for 80 something events this year already scheduled. How do you do that? Well, you do 3 or 4 a week. And then these events are even a show is an event. I do shows every single Thursday, sometimes Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Sometimes something special happens and I do a show special. I don't stop. Or someone called me yesterday inviting me.
I did 3 shows this week too. I get it.
But I do what like I'm doing now. There's the Grumpy Cup and there's the Fire Cup that just came up, and they contacted me, Rick. Hey man, we're doing this. I'm like, really? Yeah, you're one of the first people we're calling. I'm like, why? Because you're the elder. You're the one everybody loves and reveres and respects, Rick. I'm like, who told you that? I saw it live at Carnival and I saw it at the festival. I'm like, okay, all right. So let's talk about what you want to do. And then he starts telling me names. I suggest this. He goes, yes, yes. So everything we suggest fell right in accordance to what the arena, our community, would want to have. So it's a blessing after blessings keep coming on me.
Right.
I used to think I would give a lot. I was always giving like this. My energies were going this way. Woo! Give it away, give it away, give it away now, give it away now. And then all of a sudden, when I philanthropized it, it turned around and it started coming this way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, please. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? It keeps coming. It doesn't stop. Once you philanthropize your love to the community will love you, revere you. Keep doing it. Walk in that space. Don't be a knucklehead. Don't be a whoremonger. Don't be the drunk. Don't be the dealer. Don't be any of these things. Just be your passion. When you exude that glow, people tell me all the time, man, you always glowing. Yeah, I know, because I'm in a passion state. Go after your passion and live it. It's hard because most people don't understand duality. Everybody exists in duality. I'm one of the very, very, very few people on this planet that can honestly say I don't live in a dual space. I live in one space, the cannabis space, the arena of arenas, the industry of industries, the love of love, and life of life. I always say this. Live life, love life, live free. And those three things in life, man. If you ever want to remember Rick Naya, see, I get emotional with that. Just remember to live life, to love life, and to live free. And cannabis can bring that to you.
Yeah.
You know? What do you got there?
True, man. My dad's nickname growing up, his nickname still is one happy guy.
So I just got dinner brought to me by my
brother, look at that.
Justin Rayon from Grain Promotions, who is going to be out at our festival set up. I'll be at the booth. I'll be handling the booth for the most part. So if you're going to be out at the event with us at Germination this weekend, come by, see me at Grain Promotions. I'll have all kinds of killer.
Remind me. So Germination. So I'm going to be up in Maine on Sunday. How far? So where are you going to be?
That's Freedom Field. It's up there. You go look. Freedom. It's Harmony, Maine, on Carson.
You need a place to stop off and go pee, Rick. You can stop off at my camp. I'll be at Camp CBGB. I'll be doing some staining, some deck staining.
Camp CBGB. Where's that located?
It's my camp. It's in Waterboro.
Waterboro. That's way up there in the middle. Ain't that up that way?
It's like southern Maine. It's still south of Portland towards New Hampshire.
You puss. That's still south.
I know, love. I walk the line.
But that's smart, man, because I tell you, where we're at, it really is. It separates you from like what everybody else thinks being in the woods is, and then being able to go to the woods and then land on a lawn that's 100 acres and just go, oh my God. And then there's no light contamination. You see every star. It's just a beautiful place to be, to get away from it all and go camping. And then the ride home is that reminisce about that weekend and talk about things. And it's a great space. It's a great place to be there this weekend at Germination. And as I said, what you see behind me in the music deck right here, or this deck, I always do this backwards. This deck, yeah, the music there on this deck is beyond. So I'm really looking forward, not just going up and supporting my friends and family and being up there, and I know everybody up there. It's the music, man. We got some of the best music going off this weekend that anywhere in New England, right there on our property. So I'm really blessed.
So is that where you have space? Like that's your land?
No, well, the space is Scott Audette, Justin Rayon, Brad, and Mark.
Okay.
A partnership. I say
some of those maniacs. Yeah.
Well, I say mine because they know that I'm like their elder brother, and when I speak, I speak with them and for them. And even if there's ever a problem at venues, you know what happens? They come and get me. Rick. What? I'm an elder. I'm considered an elder in Shakedown Lane with the Vibe Tribe and the Jam Fam for doing things in a wise manner, not being violent and loud, and just getting through people's issues in a way that's respected. And if it isn't, well, the 12 guys that are about 9 feet tall behind me that are breathing down my neck while I'm speaking to you nicely will be kindly and happily escort you. So you can either be cool or you can leave. And there's just some certain choices you make sometimes, and adults make the right choices, and that's what we do. We do the right thing at all costs, just so that the vibe stays true. We can't get that way. The light does not, there's no room for that. So I always try to operate kind of like my hair, in the light and stay in the truth of it all. And I think that's what people dig about me, that they know if there's a problem, call Rick. Why? He knows how to deal with people pretty good. And they kind of see my face coming and they just know, Yeah, and then we
Gonna
talk.
Rick's gonna kill you with kindness. Watch out now.
Yeah, and that's
Gonna
usually
just
what
get in
happens. And they
there
all
with that
watch
big
me, and they're
smile.
all back there breathing hard, and they wonder, how did he do that? Well, you learn to reserve yourself, and your tongue is much stronger than your anger, your fury, and your facial dispositions carry true. Remember that the light that you emit, all people feel. It's a vibration. Our light is a vibration, and people feel you. Like a dog hair goes up when he knows you're a bad person, something. Dogs know these things. So, change yourself. Dogs, animals, they fly on me, they come to me, they want to kiss on me, they feel me. I feel like I'm a Saint Francis. These animals just come after me. It's weird, but they feel this thing inside me that's clean. I've already wiped away that dirt. I've already suffered the indignation of bad that I've done. And it's just to live in the now space.
That's very important. Hashtag live in the now, Rick. And that's like a big thing I've been trying to do with my kids. I mean, like that was my kids that was just calling me. So sorry to
No.
get my phone. But that's what I was gonna say is like, always like trying to find this balance, right? Of like you want to be in the community, but then you have to have self-care. So what are some of the ways that you really practice like and sort of inform self-care into this like routine, especially being on the road? I have to pee like so bad that I'm thinking of peeing while you answer that question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go pee. I'll go answer the question.
Answer the question.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
The magic of television.
Yeah, that's all good. I think it's really interesting that, the way people operate and the way they go about doing things. I'm very different. All of us are. We're all different. But for me, I learned to do self-meditation and manifestation of thy will. And knowing that the voice that was speaking within me was something I had to listen to. It wasn't a voice like, hey, Jimmy or Rick, why don't you do this? It wasn't bad stuff. It was always the inner voice, a voice of reason, of good. And I never really obeyed it. I didn't obey my whole life. And then the calling came. And when the calling came, I knew what it was. I knew then and there that it happened once when I was a child in the woods. Here I am. I'm 45 years old, and the light came and it spoke to me very, 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 very clearly. And I knew what I had to do, whether it be I'm not going to categorize myself as a Mother Teresa or a Gandhi or any of those kind of people who take up humanity or whatever. But through cannabis, I think the way that I was raised, my background in genomics, just everything that I knew and I've read throughout humanity and religions and Bibles and just literature, I already knew. And I just knew this is it. I'm stepping out, blood, sweat, and tears, the whole 9 yards. And I'm going to do this through the manifestation of thy will, of the Bunhasam gene that lied within me, that spoke in my soul. And I allowed that to guide me. As my mother once told me, let go and let God. And I never understood what that really meant until I educated myself enough to know that it was that cell within me, that one gene that hearkened all of my wellness, all of what I speak, everything. So when I let go and let those vibrations that came from the light,
like through meditation,
deep meditation, sometimes 2 or 3 days where it's just to go up a pee, drink some water, have a snack, and then go right back into the space it's almost catatonic. You become I can't even tell you, honey. It's when you're chosen, you'll know. It will speak to you without any psychotropics. You don't need drugs to do it. Your body can do it all on its own. There's enough drugs inside you already to have you hallucinate if you knew how. And when you speak with your pineal gland and you keep a clean food meaning by very clean food, it doesn't wax up or clog your pineal opportunities. I use my being at its utmost to help change other people, to help others understand things. For my own food, for the space over my head. And yeah, I pray a lot. When you see me out there all those days, my batteries are charged up. When I come home, it's usually like a flat tire on a freight train. It's just, oh my God, I go home and I'll sleep, for 5 or 6 hours straight, which is a long time for me. I don't sleep that much. People that know me know Rick sleeps 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's about it. And I go. And I've been doing that since I was a child. And I just don't think that'll ever change. But it gives me more time. It gives me more time to make the changes that I believe that my highest powers wants me to leave through humanity. And it's through cannabis. And if I can help be one little portion of a trichome that people will remember, through the analogs of time, like a musician's song, well, then I think I left a little something behind for people to remember and share. And I think that's all I'm made for, to leave something for cannabis so that we can all come to a table that we created together to educate and to feed our souls. So that's about it for me.
Well, Rick, we share in that mission to educate and elevate, and that's what the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers is all about. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, is I wanted to really understand what your relationship was with plant medicine, and you certainly explained that, and your passion for just raising the vibration. I really, really also resonate with, because I'm at that point. I'm at that mid 40, my Saturn return, point in my life where I just want to be of service. I want to use my intentions for good and creating community in a peaceful place for people to talk about integration and integrating these sacred experiences that they have, and feel safe saying, I don't drink and I don't do hard drugs anymore, but maybe I have a psychedelic experience once or twice a year to really reset and reconnect. And I think a lot of us found our connection with our communities, ourselves, and this plant through other drugs at like a younger age, and then didn't have to touch it again for 10 years, 20 years.
I'm very much in agreement with that. Quite frankly, those of us that are enlightened, that's where the word enlightenment comes from, quite frankly. And I want everybody to know, not everybody's enlightened. Oh, you're enlightened by education. You're enlightened by religion. No. Enlightenment comes from the expansion of your mind's eye, your pineal gland, through a process of using psychedelics, psychotropics, or otherworldly type drinks like ayahuasca and psilocybes and different forms of psychotropics. So just understand, you will never know what reality is. Oh, I know what reality is. I'm in it right now. I'll pinch my skin and that's as real as it'll ever be. Really now? Well, you won't understand what it's like not to understand reality if you can't step away from it. So for the people, the most brilliant minds in the world have all done it. Some of the most, the most brilliant minds on our planet ever have either done some form of psychotropics, or experienced some type of
hallucination from being sick.
And or from within. You can be sick with food poisoning and hallucinate.
Yep.
Things can happen even within your own prayer mind. You can hallucinate in your own mind.
Yeah.
I'll share that you can, but for those of us that have experienced some of the outer body experiences and been able to molecular deconstruction, understand that, you'll understand what it means to what's called puddling. That's when your entire organism puddles into a puddle of nothing but molecules that you can't understand.
That's what mushrooms are, right? The mycelium network, right?
You become one.
Yes, it's very fluid.
And then it gathers you up with the electro vibrations, and then it might send you on a longitude or latitude, on a plane, on a graph. Everything gets lineated, and this is acid I'm talking about. Mushrooms are a little more earthy. You get a lot more movement of nature, and you can flex things, and you get a lot of trails. But for me, psychotropically speaking, the expansion of my mind occurred at 13. And when I spoke to people when I was able to, they thought, how does a kid at that age understand things like these complex numbers? And how do they understand these complexities? They didn't understand me. They studied me for years because it was a tough try for me. So after understanding it all, I put it into a Pandora's box, all of it, what happened on the trip. And as I got older and I moved to New England, someone knocked on my door and said, "Hey, you need to open that up to understand what," because I would tell them, I never understood how come this happened, this, every time I touch this, it happens. Everything I did was in a positive. It was always coming back to me in big ways and was like all on business dealings, and anything I ever did was a capitalized, boom, I told you. Everything was positive, money, ego. It was all alive and it let me flourish. And then I did acid, and then I got woke and I realized, oh no, all of that was from those beings. All of that was from this electromagnetic resonance that they kept on me and allowed me to have all that. And then I understood. And then I started meeting like-minded people. Then I started doing more consumption. But I don't mean when I consume, because of what happened to me as a child, it would be like doing 1,000 hits of acid. People die from that. People never come back from La La Land. I was 13 and something like that happened to me. It
Wow.
wasn't even funny.
Like the equivalent of like a sheet of acid.
It destroyed. No, it was 30 pounds of mushrooms that they made 2 gallons of mushroom juice into and poured me a big gulp of it and gave it to me to drink like grape juice, and I drank it all. And they were drinking little tiny, dentist Dixie
Oh, and you
cups.
were only 13 years old.
I was a virgin ultra boy,
Wow,
a goody
you're-
two shoes, Dickie Naya, wee little good two shoes boy. And it sent me for 6 days lost in the woods, 3 days in a coma in a hospital. And then the book of life opened up and it poured as much knowledge as my brain could hold. And much of the information was information that was yet spoken by people that either hadn't done it or were too scared to talk about it or couldn't because of the effects of what happened to them.
So you had kind of like a near-death experience. Like, did you see like your life flash before your eyes kind of thing?
3 times in the same trip, it happened.
Wow. Yeah, I had an outer body experience when I was 15. I'll share. I was tripping every weekend, junior year, pretty consistently, usually in the summer or, the fall. And this was a winter trip. And I remember we were going out to see like the Seven Sisters constellation. It was a really big deal. It was really, really cold. And we were trudging, and we had probably been out there for 10 or 12 hours. I probably had nothing to drink. And I remember instinctively like just walking my body to the snowbank, and I didn't really know why I was doing it, because all of a sudden I was standing back with my friends, watching myself with them going, "Yes, Andy, where are you going?" The next thing you know, I'm hear the sound of my face crunching in the snow. And now I know why I was walking, because I must have known I was going to pass out and didn't want to do it in the street. So I did it in the snowbank. And so the sound of that crunch like brought me back to my body, but I was fully with my friends watching me leave the circle. So that was like kind of my first outer body where I like came back to, and like I really was confused. Like I didn't understand why I was wet, because I was like, it was like I had quantumed there. Like it was like I watched myself and then I was just in myself, but the in between was gone, like just, yeah.
That happened to me with peyote. I left my bodies and I flew around a big tent, with about 3 or 4 other guys up in there. And one of the guys never got out of his shell. He stayed in his body, never came out, but we flew around there for a little while. And that was quite interesting, looking back at my body, looking up at me and knowing that that's exactly what was happening. So really quite interesting, psychotropics and the effects that they have on us.
Yeah.
But I think it's if you're ever going to do psychotropics, please understand, do it with someone that's either a shaman or a shaman, however you want to call it. Do it with someone that has experience.
Facilitator, a trusted friend, a safe space. Set and setting is everything. I mean, I don't know if I would recommend just going with a shaman, like that kind of, that talk scares me. People who call themselves shamans scare me sometimes, unless I know where they're from or what they do. And just being a woman, I think even just like knowing some basic safety.
A life coach, man, is a life coach.
Just like holding space doesn't take a master's degree. I also don't ever want to scare people into thinking you can't hold space, but I think it's a good advice to have somebody not on drugs, right? When you're on drugs, like, especially for the first time. I mean, I've certainly done things by myself, but that's just me, but I've had a lot of experience, but I also am very lucky because I've had access, like you, I think, to very clean, pure-hearted people who produced said chemicals, who had our best interest in mind. Because this is back like going to like Deadlot, like when I was like 15 in like the Boston Garden.
Yep.
not using the money for a ticket. Like, oh,
Nope.
Mom, couldn't find a ticket.
Yeah.
So
You
we had
hung out on Shakedown Lane with us in the parking lot,
So
tripping your balls off,
we were getting
dancing
rainbow
all
family
afternoon.
roses. Yeah, rainbow
Yes.
family roses acid.
I'll have to tell you, I mean, I can go to any dead event and I'm an elder. I mean, they just let me in. I walk right in, or I walk to the side of the stage, talk to everybody. Hi. It's crazy. But what's cool is that I don't do it anymore. I just stay out in the parking lot. I hang out with the fans. I do not even go in to watch the music, because if you ask me, that was already played. But what's not been played is Shakedown Lane. And that's where everybody who's anybody that was anybody that kept that alive, and the hippie culture alive, that's where we're at. we're we're not, we never made it inside. You know, we're still out there. We're still
true. You were making money selling the cheeseburgers, selling that, like
the grilled
fat-
cheese.
Oh my God.
A t-shirt that you sprayed a skull on and put a bolt on, and you sold that for $10 because someone thought it was cool. Yeah, we did everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I was only lucky enough to go to one show. I was at Highgate.
At Highgate. Wow, that's a great one. Great show.
Yeah, that was the first time I really lost my shit on acid. Actually, was that concert was my first acid experience.
That's
and
funny.
You'll never believe this. A woman handed me her freaking baby and like disappeared like into the crowd. And I remember she was like, "Will you hold her?" And I was like, "Sure." And next thing you know, I'm dancing with this baby, and time was going by, and I was like, huh. And I just went with it. I didn't leave. I was by this tree. I remember saying to her, "I'll be by this tree." At one point I had to pee. I made my way back to the tree. I remember coming home and telling my parents, like the woman ended up finding me, obviously, about how I had this amazing bonding moment with this woman who gave me her baby, and I was on acid. Most beautiful baby I had ever seen.
Wow. Some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen and will ever see will be on some of the deepest dives I've ever taken. And yeah, there will be nothing that reality can show me, that even in this world, it have to be otherworldly to impress me.
Right, at this point.
I hate to tell you, there is nothing on this planet that impresses me, because what's in the otherworldly realms is so much more real and so much more impressive than anything that we can conjure up on this homely ass planet we call Earth. I'm telling you.
I'm not afraid to die. It makes me way less afraid to die. You know what I mean?
Dive. I'm Greg
okay,
Louganis.
okay.
Remember Greg Louganis, the diving platform guy, dive off the 10 meters and he wouldn't leave not even a bubble would come up. This guy would hit the water so perfectly. Yeah. That's how I go into this. So when I go head first with my eyes wide open. I know exactly what I'm going in there for. I tell people all the time, please just don't step in there because you think you're going to see things. Go in there to bring something back with you that will help you in your journey.
Right. Yeah. That's what we got to do, right? Sort through
it. Yeah.
Yes. Leave behind what we don't need. Only take the good. Yes. That's a beautiful thought, Rick. Well, listen, I actually have to go pick up my children. I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Oh, I love you. I just got a big look of, what is this? The Sunday Driver?
Ooh, that looks dang.
Dozy. This is Dozy. This is Dozy Punch just gifted to me.
Nice.
But I'm gonna hold off on that.
I love you. Well, hopefully you can make it here, People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers.
I love you. I know you guys. I know where you are. I've been invited so many times by so many people. If I'm down around in that space, you know where I'll come. I'll definitely swing by and say hi to you guys. I did make it down to see you once before or twice. Isn't that true?
At this space? I don't know.
Not at the church, but I met with you at an office you had one day. We sat down and chatted after an event. And
I think you were you on Sherry's show maybe one time on the Green Nurse show?
Yep, I did her show once or twice.
Yeah,
yep.
I was facilitating that process.
That's what that was. Okay. Yes, that's true. I remember that. But
I love you, Rick. I appreciate you.
I want to thank you. I want to thank Irie Bliss and everybody. I want to thank Weed Speak, PCS&M, Soulcast. I want to thank everybody out there for staying tuned and up and out. And if you see me when I'm up and around, please don't hesitate. Come over and say hi, take a snap, say hi, share some love. And that's what I'm here for, to help support our entire cannabis arena. So thank you so very much for having me. I greatly appreciate it. It was a
Love you,
blessing.
Rick. Mwah. See you soon.
Bye.
All right.